Hey, hi, how you doing? Welcome in. Uh, so no one asked us. He's Craig. I'm Logan. Be honest. A week ago we did a show. We said we weren't going to do a show right now. We were just going to do a post game show. We lied. Obviously, we're here. We're here to talk about some things. Welcome in. Before we get into everything, like, share, subscribe, hop on in the comments if you're watching us live. If you're listening or watching this after the fact, comment along, rate, review, all that stuff. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Reach out to us on all of our social media. We are going to try to keep this fairly brisk because the plan all along has been to do a Illini basketball post-game show tonight after the Eastern Illinois game that tips off in about 3 hours. We're still planning to do that, which is why we're going to try to do this show at a fairly rapid pace, similar to how we did last week. And then we'll be back for a post-game show tonight. First off, before we get started, Craig, hello. How are you? Happy Monday.
Hello. I'm good.
Good to see you. Anything we need to talk about today?
That's the reason we're here now and not in 4 hours.
So we did not plan on doing a show, as I said.
I do say we do football first.
You want to do football first?
I think so. More people, I think, care about football.
Okay. No, you're probably right. So we didn't plan on doing a show, and then Saturday happened, and Illinois went to Minneapolis and pulled off the upset special. So that was like, maybe we should do a show. And then today happened, and the Cubs made some waves in Major League Baseball. So I'm excited to talk about that. So let's just hop into football, as you said. Illinois football heads to Minneapolis on Saturday in a game that what was the spread? I mean, Minnesota was favored, but I mean, what was
it? At kickoff, it was 1.5. It was 2.5 or 3 during the week, and then at kickoff, it moved to 1.5.
Yeah. Illinois wins on the road. 27-26. Let's just
don't bury the lead there.
Don't bury the lead. Illinois wins on the road. John Paddock was the hero, the savior. I admittedly wasn't watching at the end of this game. I've seen the highlights. I know what happened, but I was not at home. I was just not at home. So I did watch part of the game, but I didn't see that stuff in real time. It wasn't the prettiest game of football, but at the end of the day, the Big Ten West sucks, and it's whatever. This is the nature of this division, this conference, before all hell breaks loose next year. But as I said, Illinois goes on the road, beats Minnesota 27-26. Luke Altmaier goes down towards the very end of this thing. Paddock comes in 3 for 3, including the 42-yard, 46-yard game-winning score. Just nuts. I mean, we talked about it. Obviously, there wasn't like, Minnesota was the large favorite by any means. We thought going into the season, this Minnesota would be the better team, but they really haven't proven to be all that good. So Illinois with the win goes to 4-5, 2-4 in conference play. And yeah, bowl eligibility is still on the horizon. But let's talk about this game. What happened? I mean, what is this team? What is this team? Besides Johnny Newton, I do want to talk about the Johnny Newton thing, because this was obviously a very different game when Johnny Newton was on the field and when he wasn't. He missed the first half for the targeting suspension from the last game. Illinois gives up 17 first half points with him on the bench, and then in the second half they give up 9 points. I mean, is he the difference maker in this game?
I think it did show how much one player can impact the game, because offensively Minnesota really got nothing in the second half. And even going back to after Johnny Newton got penalized in the Wisconsin game, Wisconsin was doing nothing. They had 3 points or whatever it was when he got disqualified, kicked out, and then they go on and score 18 in the fourth or whatever it was and come back and win. So it does show that one player in college on a defensive line that can get pressure does make a difference. This is where like I appreciate that we do post-game shows because I had so many thoughts over the weekend, Saturday night about this, and yesterday relive. I went back and watched the last drive. I never do. I never go back and really rewatch, but I went back and watched the last 2 minutes of this game, and now today I'm like I have nothing in my head. It's like it's all gone after a day of work and watching the NFL yesterday, and I mean after Isaiah fumbled with whatever it was, 3 minutes left, it was it was a third down conversion, and he got the first down, then some, and then he got it punched out, which is a great play by the defender. Isaiah fumbled. I was like, oh, I tweeted it. I forgot what I tweeted. Something about like, that's so Illinois, just stuck in purgatory, I think, or something like that. Because that's it. Like you have the ball, the chance to win, and you cough it up. Your best player, your best offensive player coughs it up. And luckily the defense stood strong and got the ball back. But like you said, this is just the Big Ten West. There's no good teams. Everybody sucks. So they just beat each other up. And luckily this time Illinois was on the right end of it. I will say, I don't know that a lot of people know John Paddock's backstory. That
Chirp,
is
chirp.
a moment that what?
Chirp, chirp.
I don't know what that means.
Ball State.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Go on.
Okay. I saw you tweet that at Connor Onion, and I had no clue, but
That's
I thought
their
there was
thing.
like I got it now because they're the Cardinals or whatever. But okay, that makes sense. But yes, he was a starter at Ball State and decided to leave a opportunity where he would play every snap for a MAC school to come play, be a walk-on backup. I think he competed for the job probably, but I think all along it was Luke Altmaier's job. But the reason is because his great-grandfather, his grandfather, and his dad, I think, all played at Illinois. Like, he's a fourth-generation Illini. So if anyone on the team, I don't want to say deserved the opportunity, but it was most fitting for him to have a moment like that this season because his family is orange and blue through and through. Like, everyone has played or gone to the University of Illinois. So for him to do that, only way it would have been better is if it was at home.
Right.
But I think it might be, and I saw a couple of the beat reporters say something similar. It might have been the most unpredictable outcome for an Illinois football game, maybe ever, at least in the last 10 to 20 years. Like when John Paddock comes in with 1:20 left, 86 yards away, did you think there was any chance that Illinois wins that game?
No.
If it was a field goal game, maybe he gets him in position to kick, like Caleb, to have an opportunity to kick a field goal. But a 5-point game where you need a touchdown, that's pretty improbable. And I mean, he was slinging it. All three of those throws were picturesque, and it was awesome.
No, I mean, he's obviously a talented quarterback. He's an experienced quarterback. You know, we knew that going into the season. Like, no, he probably wasn't, at any point considered to be the starting quarterback on this team, but like he also came in knowing like I have experience. Like when the situation comes up, I'm going to be ready. If Luke Altmaier gets hurt, I'm going to be ready. If Luke Altmaier struggles, I'm going to be ready. And he was. I mean, this was as you said, this was a near perfect opportunity for him to come in and show his stuff. Incredible way to close out that game.
I think he had the highest PFF grade of all time. I think 99.9. You cannot, pretty impressive. Like no one's ever got 100, and it's like, what else does he have to do? He was 3 for 3 for 88 yards. Does he have to go 3 for 3 for 99 yards and a touchdown? Like, yeah.
Pretty incredible. So, yeah, Altmaier was fine during the game. 3 touchdowns, 1 INT. Caden Fagan, Big Ten Freshman of the Week type of performance. 89 yards on the ground. Isaiah Williams obviously scored the touchdown at the end. 2 touchdowns for him, 131 yards in the air, 13 receptions.
I think those are career highs. I think 13 and 131 are career highs for him.
Yeah. Big day for him. Big day all around. And then, the Johnny Newton thing. He was the difference maker, obviously on the defensive side of the ball. That's a totally different defense when he is in the game. And it showed. It absolutely showed. So you definitely want to make sure that he stays out there for the remainder of your season. So can't afford any more of those. So big win for Illinois. Fourth on the season. Need 2 more to get bowl eligible. Have to think that's in play. Indiana and Northwestern still on the schedule, plus Iowa, which
all you got to do for Iowa is score 14 points.
Yeah. If you can find a way to do it. Their defense is good. But if you can find a way to score a couple touchdowns, you're in pretty good shape against Iowa. So we'll see. I certainly think 2 wins are out there, and I think I wouldn't be shocked if there's a third. Granted, that one is in Iowa City, so a little tougher there for Iowa. But this is not a place I thought we would see this team. After you lose 2 straight to Purdue and Nebraska, 2 of the bottom feeders, for lack of a better term, in the conference, you have to think things are going downhill fast. And then they pull off a shocker against Maryland, look good against Wisconsin, but don't pull that off. And then you go to Minneapolis and win one on the road against a West rival. It was big for Illinois.
I don't know if it was after Maryland. I think it had to have been after the Maryland game where I said, the rest of the schedule is winnable. And then they lost to Wisconsin. And I still looked and I was like, there's still 4 winnable games here.
Yeah.
I just, as awesome as Saturday was, and I'm glad that fans, had that night to celebrate and it was a win. Even if this team does go 7-5 and gets a decent and wins a bowl, I'm still going to be like, okay, what would have happened if you didn't lose to Purdue and Nebraska and you win that's always going to be in the back of my mind, you know? And I thought about this on the drive home from work. It's the same last year. Like, looking back, 8-5 is great. The ReliaQuest Bowl, New Year's Day Bowl, that's awesome for Illinois football. But you lost 4 of your last 5. Like, you could have been in a New Year's Six Bowl, and that's, I don't know. I call me the football pessimist or the Illini pessimist, but it's like, that's just Illinois football right there. Like, you never live up to. You always get in your own way, I guess, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah,
because this team should be 7-2 right now, but they're 4-5, fighting for a bowl life. And last year, they should have been 10-2, but they were 8-4. It's like, whatever.
Coulda, shoulda, woulda. Coulda, shoulda, woulda. Either way, there are 3 more winnable games out there. Starting this week at home against Indiana. That game's going to be at noon.
I think the
Eastern time, 11 o'clock Central time. Huh?
I think the line is 6.
Yeah,
Illinois.
That sounds right. In Champaign.
What time is it? Noon? Good.
Noon Eastern, 12 Central, or 11 Central. But yeah, again, a very winnable game, but we've seen them lose winnable games but in the past. So I do think this is a different team than the team that was out there against Purdue and Nebraska. They have shown improvement.
Yes. Go ahead. Finish your thought.
But I've seen crazier things. That's all I was going to say.
Is there a quarterback competition?
Is there? I would think there should be.
Really?
Well, I shouldn't say competition. I think the conversation is worth something. But no, I don't think there's a competition. Why do you say that? You think there is? You think there isn't? You think people saying there is?
I don't think there. I think it's 100% Luke Altmaier's job. I don't see any reason why John Paddock should even have it. Okay, he came in with Altmaier hurt. He had 1 good drive.
Yeah. No, there's
not
no
good enough.
No.
Yeah. Now, if Altmaier would have got hurt the first play of the second half, and Paddock went out and went 15 for 16 and had 3 touchdowns, and they win by 20, okay. But it was 1 2-minute drive. He only had the ball for 30 seconds. Now, was he impressive? Yes. But I think Luke Altmaier has done nothing to lose his job.
Similar to another topic we're going to talk about today. It's funny how you bring that up. um, no, I mean,
I'm just saying, I've seen a lot of people through text, also on social media, saying that Paddock should be the guy now. Paddock should be the guy. And I'm like, okay, Luke Altmaier has made a couple stupid throws. He's thrown some interceptions. His touchdown interceptions, 13-10. But overall, I feel like he's been pretty dang good.
Yeah,
I don't. So I don't buy into the competition.
I don't think there should be a competition, but I will say that Paddock has not had many chances to prove himself. Mm-hmm. And the chance that he did have, he was phenomenal. Do I think that's worthy of a competition? I don't know. But it seems like a strange time of the year and a strange reason to make that change, especially if Altmaier's fully healthy, which it sounds like he's going to be. He'll be fine on Saturday, is what Brett's saying. But
I didn't pay attention to Brett's press conference today. I don't know what came out of it.
Said that expect Altmaier to be involved in the game on Saturday. If not, John Paddock will be ready to go. Did not specify an injury. I don't know. I don't know. Competition, no. Conversation worthy, sure. I don't know how. It's one of those situations where I don't know what else John Paddock is supposed to do to prove himself. Like, you almost feel bad for the guy if that's the only action he gets this season is a miraculous fourth quarter to win a game, and then that's the end of his Illinois career. I don't think he has an NFL future like Tommy DeVito. And if Illini great Tommy DeVito. Yeah. But no. Competition, no. Conversation worthy, yes. But we'll see. I mean, maybe they find ways to throw him in there for a couple drives and see what happens. I mean, I don't know that it changes anything for the rest of the season. Luke Altmaier is your quarterback moving forward. This is Paddock's only year of eligibility, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so it doesn't really matter. One thing if you start the season with Paddock and then Altmaier takes over, but you're either playing for a bowl game or you're playing for your future. And I don't know that John Paddock has done it. I mean, I don't know. I'm not in practices. I don't know that John Paddock hasn't done enough, but I also don't know that Luke Altmaier has done enough to lose the job. So I don't know. It's a weird situation, but no, I don't think there should be a competition. That was wild. So host Indiana on Saturday. And then we'll see what happens from there. So real quick, if you are watching us live, get in the comment section. I got a text from my dad that him and Lennox are watching.
Oh, hey, Lennox.
Hey, Lennox.
Tim, too.
If you're still watching, what's up? Hakuna Matata. Okay.
Is that his favorite
anything
movie?
Else? I mean, what else happened yesterday?
Cool.
Football-wise.
I mean, there's a lot. We could talk. There was an Illini on Illini crime.
NFL related?
Yeah. Nate Hobbs intercepted Tony DeVito.
Yep.
Tommy DeVito, not Tony DeVito.
Tommy DeVito. Tony sounds very Italian.
Tony DeVito. Tommy DeVito. Tommy DeVito sounds Italian too.
It's true. This is true.
Tommy DeVito is, as of now, he is the Giant starter for the rest of the year because Tyrod Taylor's on the IR and Daniel Jones tore his ACL. So unless the Giants do something,
What a world.
It was a decent day, the NFL. They had the 4-game window, and all 4 had at least a couple of good games. CJ Stroud at the Texans. I'm buying Texans stock. And I thought it early in the year with D'Amico Ryans and Stroud and then Will Anderson and what they've got cooking. I'm buying their stock for the next 10 years. I love what Houston's done.
Yeah.
Cowboys Eagles was great. Bengals Bills kind of disappointed, but it turned out to be a good game. Did you watch Washington USC Saturday?
I did. That was the most college football I actually watched on Saturday. Was that game?
But you didn't watch Illinois, Minnesota.
I watched parts of Illinois. I just didn't watch it.
As soon as that game got over, and towards the end of it, I thought, man, these 2 teams are in the Big Ten next year. And then I thought, man, there was a Big Ten game that ended 10-7 today.
Yeah.
They're going to be in the same conference next year.
Yeah.
What a world.
What a world. Yeah, that was a fun game. There were some fun games yesterday around the Big Ten. Not a ton of exciting things. The three big teams all won pretty handedly. Although I don't know that Ohio State looked all that great. I heard some rumblings that they might lose their number one spot in the poll tomorrow, but we'll just have to see.
Who did Ohio State
Indiana
play?
beat Wisconsin. Kind of that was a kind of a shocker. Michigan State won and Iowa won a barn burner at Wrigley Field, 10-7. What was the over under on that?
I think at kick it was 30.5, 31.5.
Oh,
and yeah, I think Iowa plays Rutgers this week, and I think it's 28.5 or 29 or something like that.
That Iowa defense, man, it's a thing, but their offense is abysmal. This week Indiana goes to Illinois. The big one is Michigan and Penn State. That's the noon kickoff on Fox. That's in Happy Valley. Maryland goes to Nebraska, Rutgers at Iowa, as you mentioned, Minnesota at Purdue, Northwestern at Wisconsin, and then Saturday night is Michigan State at Ohio State. That's the Big Ten schedule for this week. We're not going to worry about picks right now because we're going to try to keep this thing moving. We might post picks later or something, but anything else college football related? The belt stays with Washington. So that's the thing. I don't think you'll see a ton of change in the top 5 or 6 unless Ohio State does drop a spot, but I don't think that's really a guarantee. Everybody else won, I think, in the top 9 or so. Georgia won, Michigan won, Ohio State won, Florida. I'm looking at the wrong thing. Yeah, whatever. Florida State won, Washington won, Oregon won. Louisville. By Louisville stock rising, Notre Dame stock falling.
Yeah.
Your town doing well. My town is
basketball season did just start.
It is a basketball school. Louisville.
Both of our basketball teams in said cities that we are residing in are not looking great.
Notre Dame was picked to finish at the bottom of the ACC. Notre Dame women today got smacked in Paris by South Carolina.
Yeah. Tried to get some money in on that before it started, and I missed it.
Yeah.
Wait. Notre Dame was picked last, so Louisville was not picked last?
Well, poll I saw had Notre Dame picked to finish last.
Oh my gosh. I saw Louisville lose to a D2 school last week at home.
Let me see if I can find it. Pretty sure. I don't know. I don't want to spend a lot of time looking for this, but I'm pretty sure. Here's the coaches poll. Yes. Yep. Notre Dame 15th and Louisville 14th. Yeah. Rough in our worlds. Basketball wise. Okay, let's move on. Before we talk basketball, let's move on to the big news of today. Kind of the reason why we're doing this show right now is what happened with the Chicago Cubs. Yeah. So I'm sure everybody that's listening to this has at least heard of what's happening today. But the Cubs made a rather loud and splashy hire today to bring in Craig Counsell from Milwaukee. The backstory on this is that Craig Counsell, former player, worst batting stance in the history of Major League Baseball, has been managing the Milwaukee Brewers for the last 7 or so years, and has done well. Has done well with a small market team that doesn't spend a lot of money. They've been in the playoffs, I think, nearly every year that he's been there. His first year they weren't. I guess his first 2 years, because I think he took over on an interim basis or something at some point. And then their pandemic 2020 year, they weren't great, but I think they still made the playoffs. And there's 1 year maybe they didn't make the playoffs or something. But either way, they have been first or second place in the NL Central for nearly the entire time he's been there. Made the playoffs all those years. Hasn't won a postseason series, which we can get into. I do think that is the elephant in the room, and we will touch on that. But Craig Counsell, I mean, from a lot of circles, a lot of the internet, he's one of, if not the best manager in baseball. I think that is a common take, something that's agreed upon by a lot of baseball people. He was being openly courted to take a bigger role or take on a bigger market team. The Mets were the big rumor that he was, going to head to New York and take over the Mets. There was some rumors that he might stay in Milwaukee. Cleveland was an option after Francona left. There might have been one other spot that it was kind of getting rumored that he might end up. And then word started trickling out today that Cleveland had hired Stephen Vogt to take on their team, so he wasn't going to go there.
Weird in its own right.
Huh?
Which is weird in its own right.
Yeah. He literally retired 2 years ago, was like quality control coach or whatever for the Mariners, and now is going to manage the Guardians. I don't remember the exact timeline of everything, but then the word came out that that Counsell, there was a mystery team involved, and people were like, who's the mystery team? And then there was a report that said it's a team that currently does have a manager.
Yeah.
So the people are like, who's getting fired for Craig Counsell? Like, this is huge. And then it ended up being the Chicago Cubs. The Chicago Cubs, who under the direction of David Ross, had a rather overperforming season. If you ask me, and some people, other people might say underperforming. They did buckle down the stretch, though. This is a team that had a really solid, like 2 or 3 months right in the middle of the season, but they started poorly and they finished poorly. And after the last game of the year, David Ross was given a vote of confidence from ownership. And, this is our guy. Like, David Ross is our guy. And now here we are a month or so later. David Ross is no longer the guy. Yeah, we have a comment here from Kane. What's up, Kane? Yeah, I don't like how the Cubs did Ross. Yeah, I would like to get into that too. But let's just start with the Craig Counsell thing first. Craig Counsell is a huge hire. I mean, I agree with the sentiments that he is one of the, if not the best manager in baseball. He has taken a team that they've had a good pitching staff. Like, that's been the thing with Milwaukee the last few years, but they haven't had a lot offensively. They haven't been a team built with superstars. Christian Yelich has not been the Christian Yelich I think people thought he was going to be. Willie
Since he got hurt,
fine.
Playoffs? Didn't he break his kneecap or something? It was against the Cardinals. I know he hurt his kneecap, and ever since then, it was late in the year. He just has not been the same. Yelich.
So, I mean, he's done impressive things with that team. And he had the option he probably could have gone just about anywhere he wanted to. The Mets were the big name. They were courting him. As I said, he could have stayed in Milwaukee, but it ended up being the Cubs. From what I understand, it sounds like he wanted to go to the Cubs. The Cubs are, I didn't mention it, paying him $40 million over 5 years, which I do believe is the largest contract handed out to a manager ever. Which is certainly something. That means a lot that the Cubs feel that confident to give him that amount of money. I do believe he has a couple of sons that are in college or playing college baseball in like Big Ten towns or something. So he wanted to stay in the Midwest. I think that might have been a factor. He doesn't have to go far. The drive from Wrigley North to Wrigley is not very far. So I do think it's a big hire it's obviously a big hire for the Cubs. I think it's a huge hire for the Cubs. I think this shakes up a lot of things. I think the most important thing, regardless of how you feel about the David Ross side of this, regardless of how you feel about Craig Counsell and the amount of money they were willing to give him, the single most important thing to take from this entire announcement is that the Cubs are ready to go. They're ready to compete. They're all in. This is nearly identical to what happened a few years ago. They had a manager that they were happy with, and then one of the best free agent managers came available, and they signed him. They brought him on, Joe Madden. And we know what happened after that. A couple years later, they won a World Series. This is a team that showed they had the what they needed this year. They just didn't quite have everything. This is a team that had 3 Gold Glove winners. This is a team that is a few pieces away from being back to where they want to be. So bringing in somebody like Craig Counsell to run this ship means that they are going all in on baseball right now. And I think that's the most important thing for Cubs fans to realize. that they mean business. Like, they're not just going to hand out this amount of money and bring in somebody like Craig Counsell and fire David Ross if they're not serious about it. So clearly they are. Thoughts? Did you see my tweet at when I quote tweeted you today? Did you see what I did?
No. I don't have anything in my notifications.
You don't have anything in your notifications from me?
I don't. No.
That's really funny. So I had to we'll go to my page. You'll see it. Okay. Yeah. So I do want to talk about the David Ross thing, but let's get your take.
Did you know you misspelled sports in our?
Yes, that was intentional.
Okay. Okay. Leader Nation, Craig Counsell. Okay. I was holding on to this receipt for over 4 years. I guess I never needed it after all.
Uh-huh.
And it is my quote tweet of NBC Sports Chicago announcing Ross as the manager.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, LOL, wait, they actually went with Ross? Three crying, laughing emojis. Congrats, Cardinals, Brewers, Reds, and Pirates. And 3 rolling on the floor laughing emojis.
Yep. I saved that 4 years ago. It's been in my notes ever since.
You saved it for when the Cubs win the World Series with David Ross?
Okay. Yes. That's exactly
how close was that?
For. It wasn't. It wasn't.
You even replied to it and said, I'm going to keep that receipt.
Before I go into what are your thoughts here? As a Cardinal fan, as somebody within the division, like what's your take here? Man. You a Counsell guy, anti-Counsell, think it's a good hire? What are your thoughts?
I haven't talked or thought baseball since May.
Yeah, me either.
I don't know. They've had good teams. He doesn't do it for me. Is he a good hire? Sure. Is he better than Ross? I fully believe that. I don't think David Ross was a great manager. So all in all, a good move for the Cubs. I don't know that I wouldn't compare him to Joe Madden. I wouldn't compare him to Terry Francona. I don't know that he's immediately makes you guys a World Series or playoff contender, but I do think it's an upgrade. I will fully say that.
Yeah. No, I agree.
What's his career record? I don't know. I guess let me look that up.
I mean, his career record is good. I don't have that number pulled up. I had it earlier.
I'll get it. You just keep.
He's won a lot of games. Thoughts. He's won a lot of games in Milwaukee, which is obviously a small market team that doesn't spend a lot of money. He's done well with the pitching staff. I think the biggest knock on David Ross is that he didn't have a ton of experience doing this. Let's talk about the David Ross side of this, because that's obviously what Kane was alluding to. That's what a lot of people are probably that's going to be the shared opinion of a lot of people here. David Ross is a Chicago Cubs legend for the season or two that he spent in Chicago.
Unbelievable.
He is Chicago's favorite child. He is beloved. He was hired on and he was brought in a pretty difficult situation. Had to navigate through the sell-offs, had to navigate through the pandemic, and ultimately led this team nearly to a playoff berth. And had they just won a couple more games at the end of this season or at any point this season, they would have been in the playoffs and they might have been able to pull off a run like the Diamondbacks did. So like, I understand the sentiments of, feeling bad for David Ross. I totally 100% get that. I can't say that I love how they handled it, but I also can't say that there was anything wrong with how they handled it. When they made the comments that they did, if it was Ricketts that made the comments about David Ross is our guy, I'm sure he meant that 100%. But when he learned that Craig Counsell was going to be available and that Craig Counsell had interest in coming to Chicago, I don't think there's anybody that understands and follows baseball that isn't going to say that this is an upgrade. We can debate the dollars and cents here. We can debate a few different things, but it's an obvious upgrade. Craig Counsell has taken a small market team and turned them into a I wouldn't say they're a National League powerhouse, but they're like a perennial playoff team. which is more than the Cubs have been since 2017. So it makes all the sense in the world to me. Are they giving him a lot of money? Yeah, but like they can afford it. I don't think that. The other thing too about the money thing, Major League Baseball managers aren't exactly making a ton of money. There have been serious managerial like concerns about the amount of pay, because a lot of them are comparing it to like some college coaches make more than some of these. I don't know. Like this hopefully will set the bar a little higher now. I do think other managers will start to see similar amounts of money sent their way. But either way, this is the highest amount of money there that anybody's given to a manager. So is Craig Counsell worth that amount of money? I don't know. We'll see. I do understand the naysayers. He hasn't won a World Series. Hasn't even won a playoff appearance, I don't think. Or maybe they have one. I don't know.
Nope.
Never won a playoff series.
No,
So
they did. 2018, they lost the NLCS, so they won the divisional.
Okay. So, not the best track record inside the playoffs, but again, since 2017, the Cubs haven't really made it to the playoffs. So, the Cubs are going to be a team that's going to want to spend, and they're going to make moves this offseason. They're going to trade for players. They're going to sign players. They are ready to go. They are all in on winning again, and bringing in Craig Counsell is their sign that they're going to do that. So I am all for it. I was shocked just like everybody else. Did not see this coming. Fully expected David Ross to be managing the Cubs next season. But I'm not upset. I think this makes all the sense in the world. I do feel for David Ross. I do not know what his future is. I'm sure he's more than capable of being a Major League Baseball manager for a different team. Somebody like I don't know. I'm not going to speculate on things. That's not my job. But an organization that may not be as desperate to win right away. He's a great clubhouse guy. He's much beloved by the clubhouse, by the organization. A lot of players in that clubhouse spoke really highly of him. They defended him. They're his guy. So we'll see what happens. But either way, I don't think there are many baseball minds who are going to tell you that Craig Counsell is not an obvious upgrade over David Ross. And I think that's the most important thing.
Not to poo-poo that here, but just to kind of go with what I was saying. And I don't know if these are the best comparisons, but they're just some managers that I Googled. Craig Counsell's winning percentage is .531. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 full seasons, 137 games in 2015, and then the COVID season, .531. Small sample size. Mike Schilt was .559 for the Cardinals. Brian Snitker is .559 for the Braves. Terry Francona in Boston was .574. Cleveland was .549. Aaron Boone's is way higher, and Dave Roberts is .630. So yes, he won, but he's never managed a 100-win season. He's never, like, the most they've won is 96, and that was in 2018. Albeit, like I said, obvious upgrade, big time upgrade for the Cubs. I just don't buy into the huge hype that he is one of the best managers in baseball. That's all I'm saying.
We'll see. I mean, I don't. Who would you say are the best managers in baseball? I'm just curious. Like who would be in that discussion? Francona's retired.
Yeah, Francona's retired.
So who's next? Bruce Bochy.
Bochy is fantastic.
Okay.
I mean, I know he was gone for a while and came back with the Mets, and he didn't look great. But Buck Showalter, when back in the day, obviously not now, he didn't do a good job with the Mets. I think Aaron Boone's fine. The Yankees fans hate him, but he's like one of the winningest active coaches right now. I think he's good. I think Sticker's good. Brian Sticker's great. Central Illinois guy. I don't know. I'd have to sit here and go team by team and name managers or think of managers, but
I'm not. So here's
probably
my
top.
argument.
He's top 10.
So here's my counter to what you just said. You listed off Bochy, You listed off Snicker, Boone, and Buck Showalter, right? Those are the 4 names you mentioned?
Yeah.
You're talking New York City.
Yeah.
You're talking the Atlanta Braves, who have a ton of talent on that team and spend money. You're talking the 2 teams in New York, and you're talking the Texas Rangers, who spent hundreds of millions of dollars on 2 players in 2 off seasons. Like those teams spend money. That was
my next point. Go ahead. But that was my next point.
I understand that maybe Craig Counsell, to like the naked eye, based on like numbers alone, may not be that guy. But again, it was the same thing with Joe Madden. I mean, yeah, Joe Madden had won some postseason games, even in Worlds. Did he win a World Series? I don't remember. And Joe Madden won a World Series with Tampa, right?
No, they've never won a World Series.
They never won. Okay. I don't remember. I'm not good at history.
I think he went to 1.
Point is, small market managers,
Dusty Baker, he's a good one,
that succeed have the opportunity to move up. They don't always do it. It's not exactly like it's college basketball or college football, but like that's how that stuff works. So somebody was going to give him more money. The Brewers, I saw, were willing to pay him $5.5 million a year, which is a good chunk of money. The Cubs came in there and said 8. I mean, like, you just can't compete with that.
Yeah.
So
that was my next point, though. What matters more in baseball, players or coach?
Players.
Right.
Definitely players.
So your first point that you said, this proves to you that the Cubs are going to be major players in the offseason. I would agree, because you don't make this move if you're going to trot Craig Counsell out there with one of the lineups from the Cubs in 2010 or whatever, when they were in the doldrums. Like,
he's going there because he knows they're going to compete.
Someone tweeted today that they would expect the Cubs to now be in on Shohei even harder, or end up with Juan Soto. Like,
yeah, no, that's 100% like the thought here. I mean, the Cubs don't make this move if they're not serious about competing for other players.
Yeah.
They're going to be in the mix. I'm not saying they're going to land Shohei Ohtani. I'm not saying they're definitely going to trade for Juan Soto, but I do think this signals that they're ready. They want to do it. They know what they have right now is not good enough, but they're close. Marcus Stroman declined his option. Strange choice, if you ask me, but okay, you free up that money. Cody Bellinger got a qualifying offer. They're going to try their damnedest to bring him back. What else happens? I don't know, but Shohei Ohtani, Juan Soto, Pete Alonso, I think, are the 3 biggest Cubs targets I've heard, and I don't think all 3 of them are.
Who's the third? Sorry.
Pete Alonso. I don't think any of them are out of the realm of possibility. So we'll just have to see. But no, I don't think Counsell goes to the Cubs if they're not ready and willing to go. But this is a team that won't change. If they don't add anything, they're still close to the same team they had. But they will certainly do more. I think that's obviously what this indicates. So now we just have to see. I went from not really caring about baseball to, is it spring training yet? I don't know. Like, it's been an interesting day.
Yeah.
Craig Counsell, man. Craig Counsell. Okay. Anything else we want to talk about?
I saw today that John Mozeliak said that the Cardinals payroll, even though he said it's going to go up, said expect about similar to what last year's was. So you know what that tells me? They're going to get 3 Miles Michalases and not 3 Garrett Coles.
See, I don't think Craig Counsell was going to go to the Cardinals.
No.
I mean, that's the difference here. That is the difference. The Cubs right now, they showed last year that they were willing to spend. They spent the money on Dansby Swanson. They brought in Cody Bellinger on a 1-year deal. They spent the money where they wanted to spend the money. And so they started. It's similar to what happened in 2015, 2016. I'm not predicting World Series champion in 2 years.
Yeah.
I'm saying it's very similar to how these teams were built. The prospects, the young guys are ready. You're several pieces away. I'm not saying that they're ready right now, but they're going to be competitive. They're going to be competitive this offseason, and this is absolutely an indicator of that happening. So
Yamamoto posted.
Yeah. There's a future Cub right there. Him and Choate. Bring him on. Okay. So here's the deal.
You know who went and visited Yamamoto a couple weeks ago?
The Cubs.
Lars Newbar and Nolan Arenado.
Of course.
Yeah.
He's not going to St. Louis.
No.
Well, I mean, he might love Lars. All right, so here's the deal. In an hour and 20 minutes, Illinois basketball is tipping off against Eastern Illinois. I don't think we need to do much previewing for this game. I know nothing about Eastern Illinois. I'm just excited to watch meaningful basketball. So I don't think, unless, go ahead. Two things. Charades. Okay, time. Speak. Your time to talk. Go ahead.
Who wins the Big Ten?
Basketball?
Yep.
Purdue. You don't think it's Purdue?
Probably.
If I gave you Purdue or the field,
I take the field all day.
I maybe still take Purdue, but
I do think Purdue is the best regular season team who wins the national championship.
I wasn't prepared for this.
I know. Let's run through the top. Let's run through the top 10 real quick. Oh, that's
Kansas, Duke, UConn,
Kansas, Duke, Purdue, Michigan State, Marquette, UConn, Houston, Creighton, Tennessee, Florida Atlantic.
I was really high on Creighton last year. Marquette's going to be tough. I'm really excited for that game next. Is that next week? It's like next week or 2 weeks from now or something.
Yeah, might be.
Very excited for that game. Who wins the national title?
Or who's your Final Four? Whatever. Just give me something here that we can put on record. Although our baseball picks were not good.
What were our baseball picks?
I went back and looked. I forgot to write them down, though. Oh, no, I did write them down. I got to find them, though.
All right, let me look. Final Four.
My AL picks were the Yankees, Guardians, and Astros. Mariners, Rays, and Rangers. That was divisions, wild card. Yours were Yankees, Indians, Astros. Not Indians, Guardians. Same as me. You had Seattle, same as me, but you had the Angels and Blue Jays. And then
I kept riding with those Angels, man.
We both had the same exact 6 in the NL. Mets, Cardinals, Padres, and then Dodgers, Braves, Phillies.
We suck. My Final Four. I'm going to ride with UConn.
Yeah.
I think they get back. After that, it just feels like a crapshoot, honestly. I don't really have an idea. I mean, I was going to say Kansas, but I mean, I know it's an exhibition game in October, but I didn't exactly love what I saw out of them. But they still have, I don't know. It's hard for me to not pick Kansas to make the Final Four as a Final Four contender. I think Marquette is legitimate. I mean, I kind of want to say Michigan State, honestly, but I know picking the Final Four is just such a. I mean, you have San Diego State, like you just don't know.
Florida Atlantic,
San Diego, like this happens. I mean, I would love to say Illinois is going to the Final Four. We got to like.
Who liked us? I
don't
saw
know how that stuff works.
Thanks for liking. Whoever liked, do it again. Like, where did that come from?
Yeah, I don't know. This is just tough.
Okay, I'll go then. I'm gonna take Duke. I'm gonna take Michigan State. I'm taking Tennessee. I'm taking Texas, and Tennessee's my national champ.
All right, I'll ride with UConn, Michigan State, Arizona.
Oh,
and Houston.
Okay.
Houston. There we go. Jot it down.
Who's your national champ? Just pick one of the 4.
Michigan State. Okay. I don't know. Just winging it here. All right. I think we should
Purdue
probably shut
get
this
past
down.
the first weekend.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I don't know that they pull a Virginia.
Yeah.
I wish Painter would have added a little bit more. That scares me. But whatever. You're celebrating something.
Yeah, back to basketball gambling, Georgia plus 6.5.
It started.
It's 8-point game with 50 seconds left. I saw like CBS or Field of 68 or something had all of their panelists had Purdue in the Final Four. I'm like, do you not know like what they do in March? But whatever.
Is this the year that the Big Ten wins a national championship?
No. Although you just
who do you think
Michigan
has
State.
the best shot from the Big Ten to win the national championship?
Michigan State.
And why is it Illinois?
I do.
What's
your? I don't want to get
prediction. What is your season prediction for Illinois? I think that's the most important thing for this show. I don't need a win total, but like, where are they going to finish in the Big Ten? How far can they go in the tournament?
Oh my God, I think they're third in the Big Ten. I do think they're third behind Purdue and Michigan State. I think they're two best by a decent margin. I mean, we've only seen one exhibition. It was Kansas, but it was exhibition. I want to say they're a second weekend team. I mean, I think they are. They should push Final Four. But until they make a Sweet 16, I can't predict them past the Sweet 16.
Yeah.
So I think that's what I'm going to go with.
I think this team's roster makes more sense than they've have in years past. I know the obvious issues. I'm not going to bring it up again like everybody else has, like we're going to do it all season. But I think this team has the veteran experience that you need when it comes to March. So, again, would love a second weekend. Just give me a second weekend. That's all I ask. But that is several months away.
So the over-under,
for now.
Well, not the over-under. KenPom has them for 21 wins. Over or under 21 wins. Or right at 21 wins. More than 21? Yeah. I would probably agree with that.
It's going to be tough. That non-con is not easy.
21 wins.
Illinois sees – because at one point, the preseason top 10, if you count the exhibition game, Illinois sees 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of the top 10 teams in the preseason poll are on Illinois' schedule this year, including the Kansas for the exhibition game. So it's not exactly going to be the easiest schedule, but I do think there are a lot
and
of
it
Big
all
Ten
hits
games
it like
that are
once.
winnable. Yeah,
December 9th. Well, no, not really. No, never mind. I take that back. It's not all at once like I thought it was. Okay, ready?
All right, let's get off this thing. Tip off in an hour and 15 minutes. We will be back for a post-game show, assuming Illinois doesn't do the unimaginable. In that case, Craig might not want to speak to me, and so we might not do a show. But we are planning to be back here to do a live post-game show after the Eastern Illinois game, probably around 10 o'clock Eastern time, 9 o'clock Central. For Craig, I'm Logan. We will see you guys later tonight.
3.5 hours?
3.5 hours-ish. Look forward to seeing you again. I can't wait to talk about Illinois, Eastern Illinois. By the way, I thank you for your login. Thank you for your service.
It is Big Ten Plus. So
it is Big Ten Plus. Tonight, 3 games on Big Ten
Logan
Plus.
owes me $5.
Logan owes you $5. You can expect that in your Venmo account later tonight. For Greg, I'm Logan. We'll be back in 3.5 hours. I don't know.
Yeah.